Warning. Surprisingly enough, this show is based around my opinions on who would win in a fight in the chosen scenario. I am not perfect and may interpret information in a way that you believe is incorrect. This show is called Two Ends for a reason. There are two ends to a debate, and as easily as I can believe character A wins, you can just as easily believe character B wins. There is no wrong answer in verses, as things can easily change. Do not put me at a stake because I believe something different. The research for Grovyle was done by ThankSwalot. Without him, I wouldn't have been able to get this episode out as soon as I have, so special thanks to him. Anyway, on with the episode. Welcome, debaters and viewers alike, to Two Ends. Here, I analyze two or more characters and decide who will win in a fight according to the information I've been given. This show isn't just me, however. After sticking to the end of the episode, you as viewers can predict who you believe will win in the next fight in a comment or video prediction. Your comment or video prediction may be featured in the next episode, so what is there to lose? Now, with all that said, let's see who we have battling today. Today we have Grovyle, the time-traveling wood gecko Pokemon facing off against Lucina, the future witness. These two fighters travel back in time in order to prevent an apocalyptic future, and required the help of the player to succeed in their quest. But if these two warriors were to clash, who would come out on top? Let's analyze. Pokemon and humans, a harmony between two species that allowed both sides to go in ways that are unimaginable. However, what would happen if the human and the dynamic duo were to be turned into a Pokemon and forget all parts of being human? Well, Grovyle found out rather quickly. Not only that, but he had to go back in time to go take away all the timepieces so a tower wouldn't collapse, so the time guide would rise up from the ground and paralyze the world. All the while looking like a villain and being chased by a soul-eating ghost and his former friend. This was at least until he cleared things up and went to stop Primal Dialga. Was that a good enough explanation? Good, because I'm rather confused and I'ma just get into everything else. As a species, Grovyles evolved from Trico, which means that you're naturally stronger than the Pokemon. Trico, unlike other Pokemon, are capable of dodging bolts of lightning and dodging moves such as Light of Ruin. I'll touch on Light of Ruin later. Grovyles also evolved into Sceptiles. Sceptiles are capable of helping cool people win fighting game tournaments. Not much to help Grovyle in this fight, but I'd like to point that out. Now on to the Grovyle we're talking about. What makes him so impressive? Our buddy Grovyle was able to fight on par with Hono, who could cause cave-ins with his attacks. Grovyle was also able to cause an avalanche of crystals and took down a fake Groudon by himself. The same Grovyle took down Uxie and Mesprit single-handedly. He also nearly killed Azelf. I also can't forget the tiny lifted Duskador, a Pokemon that weighs 235 pounds. Of course, Grovyle also helped with taking down Primal Dialga, but that probably doesn't matter much. For sure. In terms of speed, Grovyle scales to Team Pokebattles, front Zubat, who uses supersonic waves as an attack. Grovyle is also capable of moving faster than the eye can track, which is actually natural for Grovyles. In the Pokédex entries, it says that Grovyles move so fast in dense forests that no Pokemon can catch them no matter how fast they are. This makes sense for this Grovyle, as he's also swam to the middle of a lake in seconds, and escaped Crystal Lake in less than a second. Also, remember when I mentioned Light of Ruin earlier? Well, Light of Ruin is an attack whose description is, and I quote, drawing power from the eternal flower, the user fires a powerful beam of light. This also damages the user quite a lot. This means that in order for a Trico to dodge this attack, they have to be moving at faster than light, or at least have faster than light reactions, and since Grovyles are naturally faster than Tricos, we can assume that Grovyle is faster than Trico in terms of its stat. As for durability, Grovyle scales to Hono, which is cool and all. He's also sort of survived having his soul melted away, which is pretty cool. Oh yeah, he's also survived attacks from Primal Dialga and survived Primal Dialga's Roar of Time, even on the brink of death. To put this in perspective, Roar of Time kinda hits so hard it kinda just distorts reality. Basically a dimension damaging attack. And our boy Grovyle tanked this move near death. Like, that's a strong boy. Freaking, he rolling in. Of course, any Pokemon would be nothing without some signature moves that help them out of tight scrapes. Grovyle knows Leaf Blade, Quick Attack, Absorb, Screech, Fury Cutter, False Swipe, X-Scissor, Bullet Seed, Energy Ball, and Slam. Grovyle also has the passive ability Overgrow, which boosts the power of his grass type attacks when on low HP. Grovyle also has a Treasure Bag. This trusty bag usually carries food and the like, but Grovyle usually carries luminous orbs within them. These orbs can cause a bright flash of light that blinds foes upon use. Of course, like all Pokemon, Grovyle has its faults. Grovyle is naturally weak to poison, flying, bug, fire, and ice-based attacks. Without any strong pillars for Grovyle to jump about on, he doesn't get to maximize the speed that Grovyles naturally have. But even with all that, Grovyle is a naturally skilled fighter who you should not take lightly.
In the future, we've all lost our desire to live. But if we could somehow change the future's world of darkness, well, I'd risk my life for it.
Imagine a future where your parents are dead, and everyone else you knew was dead. And oh lord, everyone is dead! Who could have done this? Oh yeah, just some evil dragon god sent on destroying all life as we know it for no reason other than, I'm an evil dragon! This was Lucina's future, and in response, she took up her father's blade and faced the dragon head on, and traveled back in time. The reason she did this was to stop Grima from awakening in the first place. Of course, there was a problem with that. She'd have to find the person who was closest to Chrom and then kill them. But who could that be? Could it be Frederick, his loyal knight? Sumia, his loving wife? Or maybe the tactician that Chrom refers to as his best friend. You know, the one with the Plegian brand and the Plegian clothing? The one with the voice very similar to Grima's? It's probably that guy. And it took her forever to figure out who it was. And when she did figure it out, she either couldn't bring herself to do it or she was interrupted by Chrom, depending on the timeline. So yeah, Grima awakened and everything kinda sucked. What will Lucina do now that Grima woke up? Well, Robin was like, you guys, let's fight the freaking beat up Grima! And everyone just kinda rolled with it. And they were all gonna die, so what? So why not? So they hopped onto the back of Grima and stabbed the dudes on him and killed Grima, accompanied by the best song I've ever listened to in Fire Emblem. In fact, I'm just gonna play it in the background for the rest of the analysis. Yeah, that's the good stuff. Now, you might be wondering as to why 3 out of the 7 paragraphs are used talking about Lucina's backstory instead of the bulk of what she has. Well, that's because Fire Emblem has a very few feats to go off of. In fact, I could talk about the majority right here in terms of strength. Lucina was able to fight on par with Chrom and Tiki. Thanks to a calculation done by Vivier Ordinator on the Naruto forums, we see that a meteor hits Marth's army and its impact strength is town level. Nice. To be a bit exact, it hit with the force of 3.813 kilotons of TNT. As for speed, Lucina is able to dodge bolts of lightning. She also scales to Tiki with that meteor feat, which was calced at Mach 32. Or hypersonic. Oh yeah, and that continent-destroying Grima, Lucina can hurt him with a Falchion. But that isn't saying much, knowing that the Falchion does a whole lot of damage to dragons. Speaking of the Falchion, in terms of weapons, as a Great Lord, Lucina can use 2 weapon types, which are swords and lances. But since Lucina can change classes during the heat of battle with a second seal, I'll be giving her other signature weapons. Lucina's main weapon is the Parallel Falchion. This blade was handcrafted to deal effective damage against dragons. This baby has 12 might, which means that it can hit harder than silver, bronze, iron, and steel weapons. Heck, it hits harder than lightning too, as seen with the 11 sword's lower might. Although in Heroes it has 16 might. It's still stronger there too. You know what, I'll just roll with that. 16 might it is! The Parallel Falchion heals 10 HP every second turn, and when used, it heals 20 HP, which is actually quite a lot considering the max HP in Awakening is like 80. Lucina also wields the... Do I really have to pronounce that? Give me a moment. Okay, so it's apparently pronounced Gerskogush? Gerskogush. Weird. Anyway, like the Falchion, this buddy has 16 might. It boosts their defenses, and that's about it for that weapon. Now for a bow. Are you serious? Thulgin! You're killing me, Mangs. As a bow, the Thulgin does effective damage against flying foes. This bow also increases Lucina's speed by quite a bit. Plus, if Lucina attacks with this weapon, her attack, speed, and defenses increase exponentially. But we're not done yet. We still have to talk about our skills. Now there are a whole lot of skills in Awakening, and quite honestly, it'd be a pain to go through them all. So I decided to put together a list of skills that I believe would be optimal on a Samia-born Lucina. We have the skill Rightful King. This skill boosts the activation rates of Lucina's other skills by 10%, which means most of these usually have about like a 50% chance of popping off. The other skill I chose was Ether. This skill first adds the amount of damage she was going to deal, and allows her to strike her foe and deal a half damage of what she dealt. Then she gets a strike again, but this time it halves the opponent's defense and res for this attack. However, she doesn't heal from this strike, but whatever. She also carries Aegis and Pavice. Aegis halves damage dealt to her from ranged attacks, and Pavice halves damage dealt to her from melee attacks. Renewal restores 30% of the unit's HP at the start of their turn. This means at most, Lucina is healing 54 HP. Of course, Lucina still has her faults. She lost to the Shepherds in a duel. The Great Lord class is also weak to magic-based attacks with its low res. Without Robin leading the way, she doesn't do too well tactically, often not thinking things out completely and not following through on strategies that require to commit to completing it. But other than that, you shouldn't underestimate the swordswomen from the future. Now, let's take a look at a few predictions while I look over my notes again to come up with the results.
One day I will match him. For now I do my best.
Honestly, this is a prediction for Grovyle versus Lucina. Honestly, Lucina because, like, she's powerful and also Corn. Well, if you don't count outside help, but still. Also, if Sceptile evolves, like, if Grovyle evolves Sceptile, then Sceptile would probably win. But otherwise, Lucina would win. Because she made in Smash, get over it.
Alright, let's see here. The winner is Grovyle. Yeah, no surprise there. Of course, if the analysis didn't spell out who was gonna win, allow me to explain a bit more. First, let's compare the two strengths. Grovyle fought with people who could survive the Roar of Time, which distorts reality. Lucina scales to a dragon who tanked a meter, and at most, fought on par with a dragon that could destroy the continent. As you can see, there is a very large strength gap right there. So large, in fact, that it hurts. Following this whole thing up with speed, Lucina can dodge lightning and scales at some hypersonic reactions from Tiki. Now as for Grovyle, he scales to supersonic attacks, can dodge lightning as well, and is a faster version of a Pokemon that can dodge light. Again, this is a very, very large speed gap. Note that Grovyle only gets faster when he's in the forest, which just makes things even worse for Lucina. Durability? Roar of Time versus possibly continent? Arsenal? Lucina can only have 5 skills at a time and has like 3 weapons. Grovyle has like 14 different moves along with the luminous orbs. Yeah, as you can see, Lucina would stand no chance in this fight. As much as I want her to win, I'm gonna have to Grovyle in despair over Lucina's loss. The winner is Grovyle.
Sorry for the wait.
Here comes a new challenger! Oh, come back, proud Canadians, to before you had TV. No hockey night in Canada. There was no CBC.
Oh my God!
In 1812, Madison was mad. He was the president, you know. Well, he thought he'd tell the British where they ought to go. He thought he'd invade Canada. He thought that he was tough. Instead, we went to Washington and burned down all his stuff in the White House. Burn, 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 and we're the ones that did it. It burned, burned, burned while the president ran and